It's Beat Michigan week, so we've got to talk about that, previewing that, and a commitment here on the Sooner or Later Sports Show, a Hog Media production presented by Sleeper. That's Coop. I'm Jay. Thanks for pulling up here on the YouTube channel and listening wherever podcasts are downloaded and listened to while you're here. Please wipe your feet, like, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. I don't think we deserve it. Go ahead and give us 5 anyway, and gift it. So on today's episode of the Sooner or Later Sports Show, me and Coop got some fun things to dive into here, like a latest commitment. We got an OKPREP for the first time. Yeah. We've got Michigan coming up. Brent Venables talked about that and gave us an idea who's playing. And we're going to guess some depth chart stuff because, yeah, this game's going to be very intriguing. So keep your eyes open on a lot of that. Coop, happy Wednesday, my man. How's it going?
Feeling good, feeling good. This is it's a good Wednesday. You know, I think the Labor Day weekend. You know, I feel like we're almost to game day already, and it's one that's going to be exciting. I know that we're both going to be there, so. So if you're out and about and you see us, give Jay a high five with your left hand, and you can whichever one. I enjoy a right-handed high five.
What? Why would you think that I would want a left-handed one?
Just to mix it up, you know.
Oh, okay. I guess, yeah, because of where we're located. I guess that would. Yeah, that left-handed one would be. I don't know. I think that
if you're walking like this and they're coming past you, that's going to be a little left-handed, right?
Yeah, it could. And then right, yep. Yeah, I see what you. Hopefully, well, if you're walking on the right side and cross, that's a very good point. Well, why wouldn't yours be left? Do you walk on the left side? Are you from the UK?
Well, I figure you'll probably be walking on my left, and I'll be on the right side. So like,
that is a very fair point. I think you, similar to the way the broadcast is. So, but no, thank y'all for joining us. We're excited, man. I'm excited about Michigan week. College game day is going to be in town.
Very much.
This is what they came Tennessee last year.
So yeah.
We now need to 100% redeem ourselves because, that game should have been a lot better than what it ended up being. But I digress. There's no real reason for us to be rehashing or opening up old scabs and wounds because I'm still in a little bit of pain. But Coop, man, good game Saturday. Let's jump right into the most important meat part to start the show. We got a commitment. We got a commitment from a OKPREP. Let me go pull up how to pronounce his name because I butchered it in my commitment video, but here you go. It is Xavier Okunfaleze.
Okunfaleze. ZZ.
Okunfaleze.
I think we all get a bailout.
Yeah, we all
get a bailout.
Wide receiver. When I saw that he got the offer from Oklahoma, I was like, oh, how long do I think that this is going to take before he goes ahead and commits to Oklahoma? I didn't think it'd take that long. And then right after we saw the commitment, I was like, all right, let's go. The offer, I was like, all right, he's going to probably commit soon. And so you got ZZ, he commits. He's from Rejoice Christian School up in Owasso area, which is 2A.
Yeah.
Finally confirmed that. But he's confirmed at least 6'4", 198, roughly 200 pounds, Coop. He's a pretty big kid. And when I watched the tape, I was like, oh, he's a lot more athletic than I expected. What did you think when you saw the tape on him, and what got your attention on him?
I mean, obviously you're playing 2A. I mean, you're going to have the Elijah Thomas, at Shakota kind of vibes to where, the athletic differences, Danny Okoye a couple years ago with Noah, but the athletic differences just they stand out pretty well. And so when you've got those athletic differences, I mean, he looks like a dude that pulled up on 8 and under flag football team out there running around. But the things that I liked about his film are, number one, I like his change of direction. He's got some wiggle in him for a 6'4" dude. He's, he does, catch the ball with his hands. I saw him come up off the ground a couple times. He played defensive back. So, as far as that goes, I think what really stands out right there is the fact that he knows what a defensive mindset's going to be, and how people are going to be looking at him. So but this continues to follow the mold of the Jim Nagy bigger body receivers. You can't scheme up height. You can't scheme up speed. And so if you got height or speed, and in this case you got a little bit of both, you get a little bit more of the opportunity to back shoulder balls, jump balls. He can go get the ball, especially when you're playing against, a smaller corner. I mean, that's doesn't matter how good a corner is. If he's giving up 6 inches and the ball's high, right. That it's he's going to have to put some hands on you, and you could draw a flag there. So I think he's going to come in. You're going to refine his body. But he's been waiting for that OU offer for quite a long time.
And he got it. And Parker pointed out, of course, Parker Thune over there at OU, inside a shot to him. He was pointing out that, he got the offer and immediately committed. Right when he got it. That was the prayer that he was having answered or whatnot, was getting that. And he's, like I said, he is legitimate in his hype. I think the crazy thing about him, too, was the last game – He was the first game of the season. He finished with 11 catches, 236 yards, and 3 touchdowns in the season opener.
That'll do.
I mean, I'm not going to complain. Right. If you're that talented and you're playing 2A ball, you probably should be able to put up numbers like that. Last year, which was his first year playing football, actually, he's been a basketball kid his whole life. 46 catches for 901 yards. And 9 touchdowns as a junior, and that was his first year playing high school ball. So now that tells you he's a freak athlete. The question is how fast he can refine his game to become one that could be a problem long term.
And let's see what happens. Again, this is a kid that if you put him in the DFW, he's probably sitting at an extra star. You continue to get NFL traits on the team. That's the whole goal. And I think that with the new type of offense that you're going to see, probably Bo Bentley's probably going to be at the helm by the time he is getting playing time. You're going to have different targets all over the field. And I can promise you this. Quarterbacks like people who can make plays. And if you can trust, a ball on the sideline, I see a little Drake London in his game. Drake is a guy who can do a little. Yeah, he's a big dude. He's a guy who can get a little bit more wiggle because you look back in guys like Quentin Chaney, a name from the past.
Oh man,
some of those times those guys are just Sometimes those guys are just big straight line guys, and the wiggle's not really there. I see a little bit of wiggle in ZZ.
Yeah, and ZZ had 2 interceptions returned for touchdowns, too, as a DB, which I thought was quite interesting. You even saw one of them here. He got a pick, and he returned that bad boy for the tutty. So we'll see what he looks like playing on both sides of the ball. Hopefully, he'll play wide receiver because, of course, Emmett Jones recruited him. But I'm actually happy to see that we got an okay prep. And the good thing is we've got time. We don't have to have him play immediately. We're no rush. We got a lot of young receivers that we are excited about. Elijah Thomas, Ivan Carrion, Zion Kearney. So he'll get a couple of years behind them at least, and to be able to prepare himself. So let's jump and talk about BV's presser, Coop. But first, this video is powered by our partners over at Sleeper. Have you checked them out before? You've got to. They're a lot more than just season-long fantasy leagues. They have daily fantasy sports. And so this year, millions of users will enjoy the ability to play fantasy sports on Sleeper. And the app gives you even more than that. You can get live stats, so real-time updates for those players and visualizations of all the stats you're looking for. You also get a news feed that gets you all those updates of your favorite players and teams, of course, the ones that you're playing in the daily fantasy sports world, and real-time chats. You can engage with other users on individual plays, as well as performances throughout college football, NFL, as well as the NBA season. So download the #1 sports app today so you can experience this as well. Use our promo code UNFAIR and you will get up to $100 matched on your first deposit. Terms and conditions do apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, rate, review. Give us 5 stars. Coop, BV had his press conference on Tuesday like he always does. And, of course, he talked through a lot of key things on there. But he gave us, for the second time in the last few days, something that we've all been waiting for. When the heck are we going to see Jaden Ott? And him and Arbuckle talked about it. BV says he's close to 100%, and you're going to see a lot of him. Should be in this game. Same thing with Arbuckle, that they're excited to unleash Jaden Ott out there on the field. Do you believe them when they say that, Coop?
I do, and I'll caveat a couple things.
Yes, please caveat.
Last week, he's back there, for kickoff returns and, put him in late in the game. So if he was not fully able to go, you've got walk-ons that you could have thrown out there, in that type of situation where we're just running the clock at the end of the game. You could throw Javonte back out there. You could throw a lot of guys out there. So what I hear is there's just a little bit of unsureness from Jaden's perspective, and I think that he just needs to get hit once. He's coming off the shoulder injury. And sometimes, sometimes you get a little jumpy. You have some issues with, getting that first hit. But then as soon as that happens, it's all over. I think that the environment in the stadium on Saturday is going to be, just intoxicating for the Oklahoma Sooners. And if you're out there and you're seeing that type of a situation, I hope we get the defense, on the field first, just to kind of get the place kind of trembling a little bit. Jaden's going to be ready to go. I do believe that he's going to be a big piece. I think that with some of the flux for the offensive line, you can alleviate that with throwing out to the running backs out in the flats. And so I expect to see some good usage of Jaden Ott this week.
Same. I see they're gonna use the heck out of him. They're gonna have to, if you really think about it, right? Like, we're gonna have to run the ball against Michigan. We're gonna have to get some sort of plays to where we take some of the pressure off of what John Mateer is gonna do. We know John Mateer is gonna work to the point of he's gonna probably try to do everything himself. That's kind of his game. He's built as a dude that likes to go out there and do just about any and everything possible. And when I watch, like, last week, man, like, it feels so good just to have a quarterback that's ready to chunk that thing, man. Like,
very much.
It's been a while since we've had the feeling of a guy that chunks the ball. But I think that Ott's gonna be. Ott should be effective. Let's put it that way. Like, there's nothing about him that makes me think that he ain't going to be effective. But, man, I'm ready to see what Mateer is going to do. We already know Mateer is going to be... He's going to be a problem for... he's going to be a problem for Michigan, regardless of what anybody thinks.
Yeah, for CBS, Rick Neuheisel, old coach of Washington, I think Colorado also, right? Basically said Michigan's going to have no problems with John because they handled Jalen Milroe in the bowl game, and I can say this, that's not a very, very good comparison because if you take the running game away from Jalen Milroe, we saw what happened last year, when they came to Norman. If you take the running game away from John Mateer, he can still beat you with his arm. And, I'm pretty sure that that's what he would like to do. But in regards to Ott, Mateer. I think that you're going to have some creativity because Jay, we keep forgetting because we last year was kind of like falling in a black hole of sorrow when watching the offense, and we forgot so many things. But Ben Arbuckle is a very, very creative play caller.
He really
is going to scheme guys open. He is going to do a lot there. And if your offensive line is having some issues, which I think the offensive line just needs to be good. But if they're having issues, Jay, I already said the running back out in the flats. Michigan gave up 10 catches to a tight end last week. Also, Ben Arbuckle hasn't unleashed any screen game yet. So how do you get a defensive line stopped from just pinning the ears back and go back? You mix up your plays. You run a lot of misdirection. You're going to have a lot of variety in there. And where we didn't see that last year, and I would even say with Lebby, we really haven't seen that since Lincoln. You have to have some creativity so that there's not just a 3 or 4 different plays, and that's why the vanilla offense last week happened. You're not running a bunch of different varieties, but I'm excited because Kanik, if that dude from New Mexico gets 10 catches, like after seeing what Kanik did last week, I don't think he needs 10 catches. I just think that you need that threat out there to where you're having to cover the middle of the field, you're having to cover the flats, you're also having to have a spy on Mateer. That's a lot to ask a defense to do all at the same time.
It really is. And the funny thing though, Coop, as you just said that, how'd you like that jet sweep that Ben Arbuckle ran?
I think everybody, yeah, but Jay, the jet sweep with Deion Burks is better than the jet sweep by Gavin Freeman. I mean, it's just a completely different athlete.
Fair, but I thought that was hilarious.
I will say, I think that we all were okay with seeing that last year. That was the longest rushing play of the Illinois State game. I don't know if you knew that, but the jet sweep having that capability. I mean, that's another option that you have there because that's going to be a piece to where if you're utilizing the tight end, utilizing the running backs, they're utilizing the quarterback run game. Guess what it does to the guys on the outside? It leaves them one-on-one. Really does. We already saw Keontae. We saw Burks. I think we're going to see a lot more Satania this week. But we know those guys can win one-on-ones.
We can. They can. That's not what we're worried about. You have a feeling that you're going to get them. Like I said, they're going to win their one-on-ones. They're going to give us some good battles. Yeah. But anyway, BV talked on the top of that about some players on defense. We'll talk about them in the next segment. I want to talk about the defense like crazy. But he also, talked about Sharon Moore making his return to Oklahoma. Yeah. And, he was the defensive coordinator when Sharon Moore was here. So his consistency and all of that. And he called Michigan's defense the gold standard for the past several years. But I'll give it to him. He's kind of right there. They've got 7 defensive players that have started at least 10 career games. Mm-hmm. That's fascinating. Do you think Wink Martindale's defense is going to be that big of an issue for this Oklahoma offense? Potentially. Because that's basically what you were saying earlier is the expectation is that they're going to do Oklahoma like they did Jalen Milroe without realizing that John Mateer is a better quarterback than Jalen Milroe.
Well, regarding like BV, he also compared Underwood to Trevor Lawrence. Like he did not give any bulletin board material, and BV said everything he said. The only shots he took were at a couple of the press, the reporters. Really but Martindale's defense, Michigan has been great, and it's been just it starts at the line of scrimmage. I think the call your shot. I think I don't usually respond to Gabe and Teddy, on the Twitters, but I was feeling a little antsy this morning, and I said it starts with the line of scrimmage. It's going to end with the line of scrimmage, and if OU lines up like OC's in the past and just tries to run straight at their defensive line, I don't think you're going to find success there. I think that you need to, you need to attack Martindale's defense at the edges. You have to put them in conflict. You have to always have them thinking, about different options. And so it's a good defense. And I don't expect their defense to be any worse than, maybe Ole Miss from last year, Tennessee from last year. But we saw that our defense will let us stick in the game, and our offense just has to take advantage of the opportunities. And so that's why I think that this one is going to be, that's where we're going to win. Is you're going to have to take advantage of the opportunities. If the line holds up, you got to catch the ball. If a hole opens, the running back has to find it, because they are a stout defense, and they've continued until they prove that they do not have a stout defense anymore. You have to give them that credit.
No, you are 100% right. I do ask the question, though, when I'm thinking about how this game is going to be. I'm trying to figure out who on their defense, like, for real, who on their defense going to stop that dude?
I love me some Keontez Lewis. You know that I love me some Keontez. You're not going to – I don't think that they're stopping. I think that it is – can the offensive line and the play calling give the opportunity to Mateer to let Keontez have opportunities? That's a lot of opportunities that I just said. But
you really did. You really just threw out a whole bunch of opportunities. What are we doing here?
I had to take the opportunity.
You had to take the opportunity to give him an opportunity.
But no, listen, he's going to get a lot of one-on-ones, and I think that we saw a lot of really, really creative ways to get him just involved. The route tree that we saw against Illinois State just, again, made me super happy. You're going to have the back shoulder game. He showed that. We haven't seen a back shoulder throw at OU in I don't know how long. It's been a while. You saw, us take shots down the sideline. Mateer's going to do that. They're going to be without their starting safety for the first half of the game. So you got to take advantage of those options too.
Oh yeah, and that kid's good. Always
Barham.
That kid, yeah, Barham. He's good. He's one that likes to just run through somebody's face. Jay Sean Barham. He likes to just run through people's face, and that's what it feels like with our defense too. We're going to talk about that in a second. You know what? Let's go ahead and jump right into that. Let's talk about defense, and we want to look at the depth chart coming up. But before we do that, I want to make a couple picks with our folks at Sleeper. Have you ever heard of the Sleeper app? You should, because everybody knows about them mainly for their, season-long fantasy. You've had fantasy teams on them, but you got to check out the new app and the way that they're doing things. They have got daily fantasy sports on that bad boy, so you can make your own picks. So of course, NFL weekend is coming up, as well as college football. We talk a lot of college ball here, so when you look at college football, there's some big games on the list. Like right now, you got Louisville versus JMU, you got Iowa versus Iowa State, and Michigan, Oklahoma. And so if there's a game that your boy is looking at, Michigan, Oklahoma. So what you do is you pick more or less on your stats. So I'm going to take John Mateer more than 1.5 passing yards. I think Bryce Underwood will get at least one touchdown pass, so we'll go ahead and pick him for more. And then Jaden Ott, he hasn't popped up yet, but he's going to by game time. And it takes no time for you to get this bad boy started. You just jump in the app, choose, like I said, more or less. Justin Haynes, we're going to go less on the yards. You view your entry, and boom, you submit it, and you can win up to 100 times your money. Craziness. Good stuff. It's so much fun. I enjoy daily fantasy sports, and Sleeper is now the place for me. So all of our viewers here, check them out. Download the app. It's the #1 sports app today. You can use our promo code UNFAIR, which you see here on the screen as well as in the description below. And there's a link, and you'll get up to $100 in your first deposit matched. So you will match $100 up to in your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms and for use for more details. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit that like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. This weekend's going to be fun. College football. We get I mean, we are the game of the week. And when we talk defense, though, Coop, we're gonna talk. Let's talk about this. The defensive players that we feel like is going to be super impactful. We all know that Keontae Lewis is going to be a entertaining component of what we're going to do. I think that he's going to be he's of course a star in the making on the offensive side, but defensively, man, I'm not going to lie, man. I am really excited about the hitters that we have going out there. I think that this is going to be a big time defensive battle. And it's going to be because of these dudes right here, man. It's going to be literally levels of just knocking people on their tail from a Reggie Powers. You're going to see Cortland Guillory. I'm curious to where we're going to put Cortland Guillory defensively. Where do you think they're going to slide him? Do you think they're going to have him covering Donovan McCulley?
Pulley's 6'4", 6'5". He's a pretty big wide receiver. Yes. I would probably say that probably keep him probably at is it Samaj Morgan is the other wide receiver, so that's probably where you're going to put him on. I think Gentry is probably going to get the bigger assignment, just because Gentry's a little bit bigger. I don't think it has so much to do. I think the defensive back lineups, we'll see. We'll just see, because Valai and Venables are going to. They're not going to change who they are. I think that where you gain your advantage is probably going to be with the front seven. And so, but yeah, as far as the defensive backs, maybe they just stay, field and boundary.
Yeah, that probably will be the direction they go. And I say that because when last game, we know who Bryce Underwood went to the most, and who I think they're going to end up probably living with is, Marlon Klein, the tight end. So to me, that sounds like Kendall Daniels is going to have his work out for him. Him, Robert Spears-Jennings, Peyton Bowen, they're going to be watching probably. They're going to be Reggie Powers. Those four will probably be the four that will be heavily watching Klein to make sure that Underwood doesn't have him to dump to on a regular basis. Because I don't see them getting the time to go deep very often.
Well, looking at just the stats from last week, and again, it's week one. You're probably playing pretty vanilla. There was 4 catches by McCulley, 4 catches by Samaj Morgan for 30 yards each. So they weren't throwing the deep ball. Shannon Goodwin had a 40-yarder, but Jay, I think that the goal is that you rally to the ball and you make them really, really think about the catches. Does Bryce Underwood have enough trust in the offense and I guess you'd say enough composure to throw the ball over the middle? We'll see, because seeing a lot of the tight end stuff, that might be him leaking out late and getting what they can get. As far as Powers and Bowen, Robert Spears-Jennings, I think that as soon as one of those tight ends makes a catch, as soon as the wide receiver makes a catch, you put a thump on them. And these guys like it. Also, Boganowski was out there, so we know that guy will go hit. So between Boganowski and Powers, they're a law firm that actually goes after accidents, and so I think that they're going to try to cause some good ones this weekend.
Yeah, and the big question for us too, outside of the passing game, with Bryce Underwood being the highlight and the focal point, really, is going to be the run, is defending the run. You've got to make sure that Justin Haynes cannot get the games that he wants, the runs that he wants to get. You can't let him break up the middle. But I think our run defense will adjust back to what it was like last year. So I'm not too concerned about that part of our game, because I know we all know that the way this staff likes to work defensively, Brent Venables likes to switch things up a lot. Mm-hmm. And we know that there's going to be a massive set of adjustments right before this game. I know people were very concerned about the run game. We gave up 117 yards rushing in that game, but to me, you didn't let them get past roughly the 50?
Yeah,
and
the only time that they
right
had the ball. Yeah, the only time that they were in the red zone was after the interception.
Right.
So I'm with
it,
you.
yeah.
Michigan, let's see here. Haynes averaged, 9.9 yards a carry. He had 2 50-yarders. I think outside of that, they averaged around 3 yards a carry. And I was just going through the play-by-play, and there weren't massive chunks. They have issues at the offensive tackle. I think they feel pretty good about the guys up the middle. So I would say this, Jay, that to shut down the run game, you're gonna have to start out with aligning properly. That's 2 of the big runs. The guys were not lined up right, and if you're not lined up right, that's what happens. And then you force Peyton Bowen to make a touchdown saving tackle. And I think another time somebody else had one too. Mm-hmm. But I think that also with the edge, we said one of the big runs also, Marvin Jones kind of crashed way too hard and left the boot out. So you're going to have to pay attention to that too. But Jay, I really think Brent Venables is going to have some candy in his bag to really put these offensive tackles in conflict, and that's with bringing. We saw the what was it, the post, the right after the big gain Auburn blitz from Robert Spears Jennings last year. We saw that happen again this year in week 1. I think that if you can put those offensive tackles in conflict, whether that is, a loop with some of the, a stunt with, maybe a David Stone to where he's stunning out to the outside, that's where I think Brent Venables is probably going to be attacking because up the middle, they're pretty stout. Now, Jaden Jackson and Dom and, G Baby,
Stone.
These guys are good too. Yeah. So you stalemate there, so I think that the edges are where they really have a chance on defense to make a standout play. And Bryce Underwood is going to make mistakes. He's going to make mistakes. I mean that's going to happen. Yeah,
that's what happened with true freshmen. That's what they do. They're going to make mistakes, and the question is how do they recover back from it? Like Illinois State, the most yards they got on a possession was 24.
Yeah,
I think that if we did that against Michigan, every single one of us would be happy. The fear to me is them going well over 400 yards of total offense. If we can keep them well under 3, I'm satisfied. Because I think that leads to a win. And that prevents them from scoring. Like I said, Illinois State got some solid big runs, but no more than 24 yards on a possession. Yeah. Like, first possession, 6 plays, 24 yards. That was they had a big run in that one, but that's it. Going through there, next possession, 19 yards, 21 yards punt. 17-yard punt, 24-yard punt, 2-yard punt, 3 yards in a punt, 0 yards in a punt, 20 yards in a punt. I mean, one of them was a field goal because, it was inside the red zone, 7 yards, and then they got the field goal. But my point is you force them to punt. Or if you don't, we got to minimize our mistakes. We gave up 2.
Yeah.
Our turnover ratio is pretty bad right now. And I think that's the reason also why the score 35-3 wasn't like 51-3 against Temple. We just didn't cause a whole bunch of turnovers. And Illinois State was very careful with the ball. I think they actually was really good when it came to turnover ratio last year. So they're very careful with the ball and making sure that they don't just willy-nilly
beat themselves.
Exactly. They're a disciplined team. Their coach is one of the winningest coaches in FCS. So they play with discipline. And it's funny. So I say this. Because I hope this point gets across to everybody. I watched that North Carolina TCU game. Everybody's bagging on Bill Belichick and them. I totally understand. The jokes, get them jokes going. Let them fly because I think they're actually funny. They're actually really good. But there's one thing that I will give to North Carolina that made me pause at the beginning of the game. They look like they were actually organized. Their problem is they ain't no dudes. Like they don't have the guys. They don't have the dudes to win games, but they did look like they were well coached in their first set of drives. I was like, oh, okay. They may got something, but then guess what happened, Coop? They got talent always outbeats you, regardless of your coaching, especially the first game of the season. It's going to take a minute for them to be able to figure stuff out. But yeah, I don't. It's going to take some time with that. So, but I did feel like Illinois State was well coached. And I think Michigan's going to be well coached too. We'll see. They got all the distractions and stuff. I don't know when Sherron Moore's supposed to take his third game suspension. I don't think they picked that, have they? I know it was I
think it's after I think it's next week.
That's when he takes his next 2. After this game, he's got 2-game suspension, but he's supposed to have a third because they're appealing it. That's why. Never mind. They didn't pick one because I forgot they're in another appeals process, so we're waiting to see what the actual ruling is going to be. But sure, whatever. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe, rate, review. Give us 5. Coop, we've got a depth chart coming up.
Maybe.
Hopefully. This is, of course, pre-recorded, so if it happens midday on Wednesday, sorry. We'll drop an emergency video like Thursday morning or something, right? But depth chart time is supposed to be coming through. I am very curious to see what our depth chart looks like. Offensive line is interesting. I went back and looked at the PFF scores, and when I looked at the grades and stuff, who do you think was our top graded offensive lineman? Knowing you probably looked, but I want
Baklenko.
Yep, it was Baklenko. He was the highest graded. And the grades are always interesting to me. I don't really look at their grading as much. I mention it for a reason, but I don't look at it as much because I think it's just too variable. It's too much. The opinion, I don't know. But I do like they tally very well on like hurries and all of that stuff. We had 4 hurries in the game. We gave up 1 sack, and that was a Fauché true freshman mistake. But yeah, he just didn't level the dude. Like it's like he got there a little too early. He didn't curl around up to just hit that. I think that's a linebacker that came through and got that sack. But he should have like taken him out, but he didn't. And that's okay. It happens. True freshman, John Mateer was prepared for it. He, went, got, stepped up, didn't work out, blah, blah, blah. For me, I'm curious to see where we line things up because Troy Everett and Jake Michael graded roughly about the same. They were very close in grades. And when you watched it, there were moments in the run game where you kind of like, Everett, what we doing? But then there's moments when I saw Michael, I was like, what are you doing? I don't know. What do you think his offensive line is going to look like, especially since BV said that Fasusi's going to be back, so will Derek Simmons.
I really think that you're going to see I think that you're going to see some switches. I don't think Fasusi's going to get the start. I think that he'll come in early. I think you'll probably have Baklenko at left tackle.
Really?
I think that banking on Baklenko. He did start 8 games at Stanford last year. So it's not like he was playing, JUCO, offensive line. He was playing D1 football, and so probably see him there. If Ozida is ready to go, I think you see him at left guard. I'm curious to see what happens at center because I think both guys are going to play a lot, and I think that there is a job to be won. And so it's going to be what can you do? Gabe lost his mind because this offensive line was not coming off the ball. It was kind of just a catch, a catch and standing straight up. And I want to see the team. I want to see this team, do what the play call is, but I want to see them come off the ball with some ferocity. I also think that you see Weewoo and Simmons.
I can see that. And it's funny because Weewoo was, I think it was, who was talking about that? Arbuckle. They asked him in the presser about Fabici playing left guard. He played 54 snaps at left, 16 at right. And when he moved over to left, it was between him and EPL. Like when EPL came out, basically, Weewoo was moved to the left, which is the first time he's played left guard since he was at North Texas. And then you had, and that was when he was a freshman All-American. That's when you got Fauché on the right. And Fauché had 56 snaps. And as the game went on, he got better. Like, he gave up that sack. It was kind of bad. He got the penalty. But he got better as the game progressed. So it's nothing against him. Like I said, he's a true freshman. That's the thing that gets me. I'm not y'all know my philosophy. I don't like true freshmen starting games, but I like true freshmen playing, and I like that they at some point, if they're good enough later in the season, I'm not as reserved later in the season if they start, because that's usually when they blossom into something that you're like, oh, okay, he's ready for it. But they're going against some tough defensive tackles, man. Trey Williams is their nose. I'm curious to see how we handle because they're basically running a quote unquote 3-3-5, or it's like a 4-2-5 multiple, but yeah, they play. It feels like a lot of 3-3-5 in here.
I think that when Fasusi comes in, that's when you might start seeing Wewu come in over the left guard, because you got somebody who has experience right next to a new guy. And I think we talked about this a couple weeks back, that if you're going to see a younger offensive line out there, you want a couple guys with experience. And I think that if you have Simmons on the outside of or Simmons or Howland, you're gonna see 10 or so offensive linemen. I fully believe that. Hopefully it's because you're rotating. But again, I think that you don't ask a ton of them by saying, hey, just come off the ball and push the 335-pound, nose tackle. I think that you're going to have a lot of different, line variations. I think that you're going to have a lot of faster plays. And we did good in pass blocking. And so, but you are going to have to attack the defensive line at times. And so, if you have Simmons and Fasusi, you guys, we're going to grow with this. And in my heart of hearts, Michigan's going to win some battles, at the offensive line. And so you're going to have Mateer ready to be on the move. And as an offensive lineman, just don't get caught with the holds. Don't
get caught with holds.
Don't compound, an issue. Now, obviously, if John Mateer is about to get killed, hold. Let's take the 10 yards. But what you don't want to see is them get blown off and then, grab and hold and, on a third down or a second and short or something like that. But Michigan's going to win. I mean, that they're good at what they do, and I think that we're going to see some tempo also. And because I don't think Michigan's depth on the defensive line is necessarily 8, 9, 10 deep. I think that if you can get some guys off the field, you take advantage of those moments.
Yeah, I 100% agree. You get some push on the line, you'll be able to get the running game going, which now we'll see if Jaden Ott's going to give us the run game that we're hoping for. I don't know. We'll see. But you also got to make sure, because pass protection was solid in the game, and I think that's where I think that's going to be our strength this season. I think in time the run game will get there. They'll get that push. They'll get that strain. But I do believe that our the pass protection will be fine. So, what's your prediction for the game?
I think OU starts out pretty quickly. I think that,
I like that.
It's going to be hard for me to see Sharon Moore come down into Norman. They'll probably see that Tennessee game last year. And I just don't think that you can afford, taking shots down the field with Underwood early in the game and risking turnovers and getting into the psyche that way. But I want to see OU get out to a good lead. I mean, I think that you get out to a 10, 14-point lead and you force Michigan's run game to dissipate a little bit, and then you put the ball in Underwood's hands. So I think my final prediction on the score is going to be 33-17. I think Michigan probably gets a late touchdown to make it look a little bit better. But I think in general, I mean, you're going to give up probably 10 points, in competitive time.
Yeah, the Vegas line opened at like 2.5. I've seen it balloon to 6.5 at one point with a lot of traffic on Oklahoma. And now it's starting to teeter his way back down a little bit to a reasonable number. It's about 4.5. A few of the analytics have given it to Oklahoma to cover said spread. I do not know The traffic does look like, though, we've got a lot of traffic on. I think it's mainly on the Oklahoma side right now, even though Michigan's got a lot of boosters. It's actually, correction, all the traffic right now as of today. Yesterday when I looked at it, well, actually Monday when I looked at it, was a lot of Oklahoma traffic. It looks like it's about in the 60s as far as percentiles going towards Michigan, and the line's kind of staying steady in the 4.5, 5 range. It depends on what site you're on. 5.5 on FanDuel. I saw 4.5 over on ESPN Bet. There's a few different places you're seeing where that number is, which is fascinating. That there's so much variances when it comes to the spread of this game.
I think that it capped out yesterday like 6.5 on a couple spots, and so what that basically means is you're looking at a 9.5 point neutral site, Oklahoma, and I think the early Vegas money flooded in on Oklahoma. Now you're probably seeing a lot of people, take that Michigan because Oklahoma had some trouble running the ball, which is crazy because you still throw up, what was it, almost 500 yards of offense, and people are, that game was a short game. It wasn't like you had 5 possessions in the first half. So, but yeah, I expect OU to come out, really just trying to establish itself very, very quickly. And like I said, if you can take Underwood and put everything on his shoulders, that's a tough ask. And if OU gets up by 10 to 14, if OU gets up 10 to 14, I don't think Michigan is going to think very short-sighted. I think that they will continue to try to run their offense, which means going, short down the field. They're not going to, have him airing the ball out all over the place. I think that they're going to. So I would say this is you would rather give him success even in small doses than, try to put it all on him and let him start throwing interceptions and pick sixes and stuff like that, because you're thinking entire season. This is not a conference game for them. So, I would rather just, make peace with it is what it is if OU gets up big, and just keep running the offense. So I don't know if Michigan is necessarily built at this point in time to make a big comeback.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. You don't want to put this all on the back of Bryce Underwood, but this is the game where he may actually show up and be something special. I don't know. I do expect John Mateer to cause a lot of problems to the opposition in this game, and I pray that he goes out there and he has a Heisman statement type game, like that, which means it's a big game. Not saying he's going to win the Heisman, saying it's one of those games where they're like, okay, no, he dominated. It was literally his world, and we are in it. Final score prediction for you.
33-17. Oklahoma is going to not only cover, I think that they're going to get everything out and going. I really see very, very little chance that OU doesn't do anything on offense and their defense gets abused. I think that Michigan's offense versus our defense, that score could get a little bit higher if you have a touchdown involved there.
Give me 25-15. It's gonna be weird. I could see a lot of like I say, just weirdness in this game. So I'm gonna go 25-15, just because I think that's just an odd set of scores to go with. I think Oklahoma wins by double digits in this game. All right, we are out. Like I said, if anything crazy drops, and I can pull Coop away from his duties of being an awesome parent, we will jump on and we'll make an emergency pod around like depth chart and all of that stuff. But here's our preview. Thank y'all for pulling up. Please hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Check out our partners over there at Sleeper. They're going to hook you all up with use our promo code UNFAIR. They're going to give you a $100 match on your first deposit, and the terms and conditions do apply. See Sleeper Use for details. We'll chop it up with each and every single one of you next couple of days. Videos, of course, will maintain dropping, but we'll be around. We'll talk soon. Peace.